To be or not to be? That is the question. Welcome to Jester's Judgment, where we are going to be talking about Apiary and going to give it a review. We're going to talk about the 5 things we really, really love about this game, the 5 things we don't really find that exciting about it, and then last but not least, we're going to give you our final review, find out if it's something that's worth your time, trouble, and effort to find. Get yourself a copy and get this to the table. So, we've just done a unboxing of the expansion that came out recently. We've played through 2 more episodes. We played through this. This is our first game we played in January 1st. We played it 3 times back then. So we played it about 4, 5, or 6 times. And now it's time to give you my honest review of this game. Of course, we like to start off with all the positive stuff. So we're going to talk about the best, the pros, all the good stuff first. Number 1. I absolutely adore the variety of the setup. You're going to be randomizing a lot of different piles. You're going to be randomizing your faction. You're going to be randomizing your boards. All kinds of different pieces and everything. There is a ton of setup options in this. And every time you play this game, it's going to be set up differently. You're going to be pieces and parts that you've never seen before because you don't play with everything every game. So tons and tons of variety of setup. If you're looking for just variable setup and lots of different ways, lots of different things to explore as you play through the game, you're going to love the variety setup. Number 2. This is based upon a very solid, easy system. It's a worker placement game, and you're going to be putting out several of your pieces during the turn, but there's only like 5 or 6 different locations you can put your piece. So there's not a super variety, but how you do it and when you do it and how you time it and how the bees hibernate and getting the right value of your piece at the right time. It makes it for a very good system, but it's very solid. As you play through the game, you're never scratching your head going, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? How does this happen? None of that. It's a very well thought out, very well designed, very well produced game. Number 3, the amount of options you get. Again, tons and tons of different options that you can have here. Just, again, the amount of options that are included in the box. There are 20 different factions that come in the base game box. So it's not like you get 4 or 5 factions to play with and that's it. You get 20 different factions. Every faction works differently, has different special abilities, has different things. Again, you're going to be putting these different planet pieces down. You got tons and tons of those extra planet pieces. You have the different... you have a huge stack of cards for the resource. They've given you a lot of extra stuff that gives you a lot of different pieces to play with. And that is, a lot of companies or a lot of board game design companies, they would have said, oh, great, we got 20 factions. What we'll do is we'll include 5 in the box. Then we'll sell one expansion will include 5, another expansion will include another 5, another expansion will include another 5. No, you get a boatload of stuff in the game box. Number 4, as I just talked about, the faction diversity, especially between the faction that you choose and the layout of your hive, the hive board. And how those two interact and work together is really interesting. And every time you can play the same faction and with a different hive board, and what you're going to be doing and how you're going to be doing it is going to be kind of different because of the way the boards are laid out and the special abilities that are on each of the different boards and how those abilities interact with the faction you have. So the second time I played it, I had the ability to, if I every farm that's adjacent to my headquarters or my main piece. But the problem was, like, there was only one piece on my layout of my board that was adjacent to it. So I had to build a bunch of extenders on it. So anyways, you get a nice variety of faction diversity, each of them doing their own special thing, especially with the Hive board. So tons and tons of different ways to play. And it's great. It's one of the best. The Atoma Factory AI. I love the Atoma Factory. I've always appreciated the way they've done things. They've kind of streamlined the AI so it doesn't take 55 minutes to try to figure out what the hell they want to do with it. It's streamlined. Yes, sometimes they don't play by all the same rules and stuff, but they do take up places. They make you have to think about where you're going to put your pieces. They will take pieces away that you won't be able, I really wanted to get that and now it's gone. All that stuff. That's what a really good AI does. It makes it so that you can't just go, oh, the AI is going to do this so I can get this piece later on. You don't know what he's going to do. And the Atoma AIs are really, really good. I really like the Atoma Factory, the way they've designed everything. Usually play it pretty quickly. I can get through the AI's turn. Look at the top of the card. Do they have 0 or 1 gray pieces? No. Do they have a level 4 piece? No. Then they're going to research. Boom. Done. You can figure it out quickly and easily. You're not spending time just dragging down the game. Atoma Factory AI. It's great. You gotta love it. Well, those are a lot of really good things. I've been saying a lot of good things about Apiary, but unfortunately, not everything is great. There are some issues, and we're going to talk about them, and that is, of course, the 5 cons that we're going to go over. Number 1, it is a big board for whatever reason, and there's a lot of open space on the board. It's just not needed. They didn't need to make that big a board, and it board takes up a huge amount of space. I wish they would have, condensed everything kind of smaller, made a smaller board, or maybe made a couple sideboards that you put together. It would have taken up half the amount of space that they have on the big board. It's just seemed like it's fine. It's just it didn't need to be as big as it is, and I'm not sure why they did it that way. Number 2, the hibernation comb scoring down at the bottom. I've never really liked that mechanism, to be honest. It's always kind of been a downer in the scoring mechanism. It's 2 different tracks that you're scoring. One track you can score 7 points if you have the majority in it. The other track you can score 3 points. If you have at least one piece in the other, you earn 2 points. So in essence, it's like one person can earn 7 and the other person can more than likely earn 5 points. So all of this scoring bonus and trying to manipulate these tracks is for like 2-point differential. It just didn't make a lot of sense. I wish they would have completely redid that. I don't like that scoring mechanism. I think they could have done it a better way. And if they were going to do that, then make it so that, like, okay, if, one track is worth 10 points and the other one is worth 2. I mean, the difference between these, again, you get 7 points if you win on the first track and 3 points if you win on the second track. But again, if you have at least one piece in the first track, you get 2 points. So if you win the second track for 3 points and have a piece in the first, that's 2 points. It's 5 versus 7. So the guy is working his butt off to try and get 7 points, and then you just put a couple pieces on and you get 5. And it's like, I just never liked that. It just didn't like it, to be honest. Number 3. converting on the dances and that whole dance mechanism. I like the dance mechanisms, but being able to have people create their own dances sounds like a great idea, but everyone chooses like the same reward, like honey, because honey is super hard to get. So if you can find a way to make honey really cheap, you're going to do that. I wish they would have had, like, they have a board, and some of the board is filled out, and then some of it is where the players can then choose, okay, a water and a fiber will create 2 victory points, yay, or whatever. And you can create your own little thing, which is kind of cool. I wish they would have taken all that out of the players' hands and said, okay, here it is. We're going to create the formula ourselves. And then you have these formulas and you can randomize them to begin with. I'm just not a whole big fan of that whole section of the board. I like what they were trying to do with it. I just don't think it executed really well. It's just the dances. Sure, it gives the players lots of, oh, hey, I can make these really cool things. But it's like, okay, you're going to do... It's not like you're ever going to create a dance. It's like, it's going to cost a honey, and it's going to cost you a wax, and you're going to get a water. You're never, ever, ever, ever going to make a dance like that. Like, it's just, you're going to take the cheapest, easiest resources that your character can make, and you're going to get the best, hardest resources in the game. It's that simple. So, I mean, they're just... There should be extra bonuses, like if it was like a water, if you made a dance with the water as a reward, then you also get like 10 victory points or something. Give you some incentive to do that. I just don't like that whole mechanism, to be honest. Number 4. And this is just for my personal taste, the queen track. So down to the very bottom of the board and right in front of you is a track that you're going to have these little pieces on that you're going to be keeping track of. And each of the little squares is like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. And you're going to try and keep all these little cubes on that. And it's right by where, a player is going to be sitting, or if you're playing solo, it's going to be right by you. So you're going to be constantly reaching over this track. You're going to be hitting the table with your chest and your belly and your arms and your elbows and everything. And those little pieces, it's not a dual layer board. Those little pieces are going everywhere. And you got to try and remember, because this track is right here. And I'm not sure why they didn't put that track up at the top of the board so it's out of the way. Why does it have to be right here in front of me so every time I move and every time something goes, it's in the way, and it's just bad location for that. And it can be really a problem to keep track of the little pieces and where they're going and making sure you're not nudging them. And I had to 5 or 10 times during my playthrough, I had to readjust where the piece was because I kept hitting it with my elbow. And that's just playing with myself. If you have 3 or 4 people and you're reaching across the table and you're moving things and players are tossing you pieces and everything, good luck. And last but not least, the research cards are super powerful. Well, I should say this. The research cards go from the extremely low to the extremely powerful cards. So you have this gambit of like 0 to 100 in power level. And so it's like randomly determining how well you're going to do based upon the power level of the card that you just randomly chose. And I don't like that. I would have liked to have more, instead of 0 to 100, have between, say, 40 and 60. So everything is in that kind of middle area. But no, you got these ones that are completely worthless cards. Like, what am I going to do with this? I got, like, the second game I played today, I drew several cards out of there. And the reward that I ended up getting was 3 victory points. I planted it to get 3 victory points. The first game that I played tonight, I was planting and getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 victory points. So you can see what a huge difference just the cards are making. And so I think the research cards are just all over the place in power level. And I think instead of streamlining those, they kind of just went with, whoa, this sounds good. Let's make this one up. And I think they just got the expansion, and there was a whole bunch of new research cards in there as well. And those all went together, but none of those fixed any of the original ones. So I'm kind of disappointed in how the research cards seemed too powerful compared. I mean, everyone is trying to get these research cards because they're so good. And if you get the right one, it can be game-breakingly good. So, with all that said, what do I think about Apiary? Apiary is definitely got a very fond moment in my heart because it was my first game I played in 2024. And I played it several times at the beginning of 2024. It is now almost late 2024. I've been meaning to get back to this one. I wanted to try it again, but I saw that they were releasing a expansion for it. And I figured I would just wait until the expansion showed up and then give it another try with the expansion just to see what it was like. For me, this game really hits a lot of really good spots for me because I love random setup. I love having lots of different options. I love having, a stack of cards. Sure, they can give me 10 cards, but if they give me 1,000 cards, I'd be happy with 1,000 cards. If I'm only going to be using 3 of those cards, I don't care. I still want 1,000 of them. And that's what they did with this game. They give you 20 different factions. They give you all these different hive boards. They give you all a huge stack of the different researches and the farms and all the technologies. Lots of variability, and I love that. And every time you set up the game, it's going to be different. You're going to have to look at, okay, you know what? I might go with a little farm strategy because, if I get this thing, then every time I put a thing adjacent to this farm, then I'm going to get more resources in. And then because I'm doing that, I can get this piece over here. Every time you build a farm, you get this other thing as a reward. And you can build your own little engine based upon all the little pieces and parts that are out there. And so I love games that do things like that. There's tons and tons of different factions to play, to kind of steer you in different directions. Maybe one time you're doing more research. Another time, maybe you're going down the Queen's track really hard. Maybe another time you're just trying to get tons and tons of resources. Maybe you're trying to build a lot of farms. Maybe you're trying to build a lot of developments. So there's all kinds of different strategies that you can use in this game, and it's just the amount of variability, the amount of setup, the amount of stuff that is included in this game. It also comes, again, with the Atoma Factory AI, which is so good. It makes it so easy to play the AI, and it makes it so much fun to play it. I played 2 games tonight, and I'm still doing a review of this because I've got time to do. It's just an hour to an hour and 15, maybe an hour and 20 game, depending on how long, how much you're thinking about your turn. It's about an hour to hour and a half max game, but I'm closer to an hour for me. I've played it 4 or 5 times, and every time it's been just over an hour. I think the first time I played it tonight was like an hour and 10 minutes. The second time was an hour and 15 minutes. That's pretty close in time frame compared to what we're doing. Also, when I played the first time tonight and played the second time tonight, they played completely different. The scores were completely different, and the AI scored about the same, but I scored way better the first time because I had better combos and better cards and everything like that. Now, it's not all great. It's running some issues with the size of the board, taking up way too much space for what it needs to do. With that Queen's track right here in front of you and constantly hitting it with your elbow and moving things. So you got a deck of cards right there as well. It's not a dual layer board, so you're constantly having to worry about, okay, I'm on 10. I got to remember that's where I'm at in case I hit the piece off of there. And then, of course, the hibernation combs track scoring thing at the very bottom. I would just get rid of that whole bottom section of the board. I would get rid of it completely. But overall, I really, really, really like playing this game. It plays about in the amount of time I want it to play in. It's fun, it's interesting, and the AI goes through very, very quickly. My overall score for this game is going to be, if I can find my piece here, if I can find my thing, there we go. I'm going to rate this a 96%. It is literally one of the best games that I've played, and probably my 2023 game of the year. It's that good. I really, really like this game. Every time I play it, there's just more to explore, more things to see, and I appreciate the fact that A, they included the Atoma Factory AI, and B, they included a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, how many times has a game come out and within a month or 2 months or 3 months, you got another expansion or 2 or 3 expansions? In this game, they just came out with a little expanding the hive, which just adds some more pieces and parts to the game, and a couple replacements on some of the broken pieces that came out originally. You're not like adding 5 new factions, because they only gave you 5 factions to begin with. They gave you a ton of stuff in the box to begin with. You're going to be spending tons of time trying to just enjoy the game as it came. And it is one of the best games that I played. And probably, again, I don't do a game of the year for the different years. But if I did, I would say Apiary would be very close to probably being 2023 Game of the Year. There's a few others that I like from 2023, so it's not a lock, but it is one of the best out there, and we are going to Jesterify this game if I can find the right thing. There we go. It's been Jesterified. It means it's one of the best. It comes highly, highly recommended. Definitely should be part of your collection, and if it is part of your collection, it should definitely be played from you. It's one of the best games out there. It plays great solo, plays great with people, and it's a lot of fun. So check it out. Apiary, my review, 96. It's one of the best. It will be in my top 100 of all times. I can guarantee that. So thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks for watching. I hope this review will steer you towards purchasing this game. It is a classic game. I think as time goes by, I can see that maybe an expansion or 2 might fine-tune some of this, but it's a solid game with quick decisions and meaty decisions with total random setup, which is going to make it play differently every time. And there's a ton of stuff in the box to explore. So thank you all for joining me, and thanks so much. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff. And if you want to see more Jester's Judgments, leave a comment down below on what game you think I should review next. Thank you all, and don't you forget, I will see you all down the line. Until then, my friends, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.